This is the beginning of something revolutionary.
Standing in line to see the show tonight, and there's a light on, heavy glow. By the way, I tried to say I'll be there, waiting for.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Youth in Power podcast ran by the Anderson Munger delegates, the officially unofficial Youth in Government podcast for California. Today, I have my co-host, Sophia Hayes. And we are super excited to interview our guest today, Sajan Singh from the SRV Global delegation. Sajan is running for our 78th Youth Governor, and we are grateful to have him on the show today to talk a little bit about his platform, his experiences outside of YNG, and experiences inside of YNG. So without further ado, I'll start us off with our first question. Can you teach us your delegation callback?
Yeah, okay. So we're the SRV Vilebo East Play cluster. So it's basically just with your right hand, your first three fingers. And then we'll be like, I'm Sajan Singh, I'm from the SRV Vilebo East Play cluster, and then everyone goes SRV and then kind of like sticks it forward. Yeah, like that.
SRV.
SRV.
Yeah, that's perfect.
I like it. Okay, so what's your favorite part about being in your delegation?
My favorite part about my delegation. Okay. So our delegation kind of does well, we started 2 years ago and we have a PI board member or like our board member as like an officer. So last year I was an officer for my delegation and I was for this year. And I think um some people have like like love to pie me. So I've been pied both years in a row. And I think it's so fun having like, all the delegates get into it and like donate money, which it goes to helping our delegation while they get out of pieing someone. I think it's just probably one of like the most fun experiences I have.
Yeah, what time of the year do you do the pieing? Like after they're elected or?
Yeah, so we elect the year before, and it usually starts at Bob is when we start fundraising for it. And they basically do it is they have jars with each like officer's name, and they put money into those jars, and whoever accumulates the most money, pretty much like 2 weeks before SAC, 3 weeks before SAC, then that person would get pied.
Well, it's 3 weeks before SAC right now, right? So somebody's getting pied.
Yeah, so we did ours, I think, last meeting, and then I got pied, and then my friend Connor Martinez, he's our delegation president, he got pied as well.
Nice. You're probably asked this question a lot, but what interested you in running for youth governor instead of like another role?
Specifically, youth governor, I think last year we had a candidate run Hagen Grant, and seeing him just up there, like talking to people and like just talking who he was rather than being the super formal kind of guy, just really like showed me the ability that I could have as a leader while still being connected with everyone. And that really inspired me to like, I was like, this is something I would like to do. And I think it would just be the coolest thing for me to do. And that's really what pushed me to like do the application and just put all my heart into running for youth governor.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. So have you ever held any roles in YNG, either on a statewide or a delegation level?
Yeah. So my sophomore year, we had a position called Sergeant at Arms, and their role was kind
That's
of
what
like,
I am.
yeah.
Okay.
So I was that last year, and so I ran when I was a freshman. I got that sophomore year, and then my sophomore year, I ran to be our club's vice president. So I won that, and I was vice president up until Bob, and then my delegation and also some of the officers decided it'd be best for me to step down to like focus on campaigning and just running for youth governor. So those are the positions I've had, and I think they've really like pushed me to like step outside my comfort zone, which I think was what really pushed me to become like run for like youth governor.
Yeah, and then can you tell us a little bit about like the program areas that you've been in and like just like describe them for like delegates who haven't been in them before?
Okay, so freshman year we did forum like everyone. Forum was really good because it really like showed me what youth governor was really about.
Were you in Model UN or did you just start with NLC?
I just started with the youth and government,
Mhm.
but I think forum was good for me, and I think some of my friends just could have kind of showed us like what you do and see like what like different aspects there are of it. And then sophomore year, I did board of education because my mom's a teacher and I was interested in like what she does, so I did board of education. That was really interesting because it was important for me to learn about like our education system, but also having a connection to it. And I think if you're interested in writing bills or proposals about education, or if you think you have some great ideas about it, you should totally just do it. It was a great time. And then this year I'm doing Icon, which I think is probably one of the like most fun I've had so far. We did this alien convention, and you basically just write proposals about anything, and you just go up there and you talk about them, and people could talk, other people could talk about your proposals, and it's just fun to see people's like creativity. And those have been the three that I've done like so far through the government.
Nice.
Icon was something like so far. I think everyone should try it at least once.
Hmm.
Okay, what has been your favorite moment from a conference? Like a memory that you've had from a conference that you're like, that was really fun, really funny.
From any conference or like
Like
okay,
Bob or Zach.
I think one of my favorite experiences was my freshman year, Sacramento, because my brother joined the club that year, and me and him kind of joined together, and it was really like impactful to see him like even though he was a senior at that time, he still put his entire like heart into youth and government, and then we talked at like our friendship circle of just like me and him going through this, and I think seeing him talk up there in front of a room of people and just like seeing him be so like vulnerable, I think was like the coolest thing that I've seen. I think that was probably one of my like favorite experiences I've had so far.
Yeah. It's always fun to do like youth in government, like you just like join it with a friend. I know like so many candidates last year, at our delegation and then just like statewide, they're also saying in their speeches that they joined youth in government because like a friend brought them along.
Yeah.
It's just like yeah, it's really nice to have a friend there with you, like with the in the experience.
And then
Yeah.
there's the people like me who just kind of join because they heard about it and they're like, yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we have our next question straight from our delegation. So,
Mhm.
based on like what you've heard or experienced, can you rank the following like five program areas based on like their vibe or energy, like in, just like what you've heard about it?
Okay.
My
So yeah, like one is having like the best energy, five is having like the least energy out of the five. Yeah.
Okay.
So we have appellate court districts, ledge houses, California Investment Bank, Constitutional Convention, and then like Icon International Convention.
Okay. I think one, I think a little biased because I'm doing Icon this year, but I think they definitely have the most like energy, really caring about it. Two, my friend did California Investment Bank, and he said he had a great time. He said everyone was like invested in it and wanted to do it. So I think I'll put that there. Three, I would do Constitutional Convention, just because I've heard great things from it. And then what was it? Ledge Houses and National Assembly.
It was ledge houses in appellate court districts.
Okay. I would do appellate fourth. My friend was an appellate, and she said she had a great time talking about like different things in it. And then I'd do last would be the last one, I think.
Yeah,
Appellate
that's a
or
good
not
list right
interviews.
there. I agree. I agree.
I would say if anybody, okay, of all the interviews, if we have someone rank appellate last, I might just leave. I don't know. I don't know what I would do.
Yeah,
It's
Sophia's
me.
hardcore appellate.
I did it. Okay, so I've only been in Youth and Gov for 2 years, and I did it both years.
Really?
Yeah, I loved it so much, and now I'm in second district.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay. Next question. So, if you could join another delegation for a day, which one would you join and why?
Another delegation? Well, that's a good question. Let me
You can
think.
choose two or three if you want to. Like we had people who just like couldn't decide. And you're like,
Yeah. Another delegation I would like to join. I think I would do Berkeley because I think it'd just be fun to like hang out with all the Berkeley people. But I would also do CPY just because I always see them around and they always like they always seem so energetic about everything, and I just think it'd be so cool to like just meet with people from like a different area from where I am. And I think I would definitely like join those two. I think if I had to like switch from mine. But I love SRV, so I don't think I would switch even if I had the option.
Yeah. The question is, which one's bigger? Is it Berkeley or is it CPY?
oh,
Berkeley.
it's CPY and then Berkeley.
Oh,
Really?
I've
Okay.
done research. Oh, I've done research because I always think about like if I were to do another delegation, it would probably be CPY for the hoodies, and then it would be Berkeley for like the energy.
Dude, CPY's hoodies are so cool looking.
It's the same every year, and that's what makes them so iconic.
Yeah, it's iconic, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then with our next question, I know that like some great leaders have had like mentorship throughout their lives. Who do you think like the biggest inspiration has been, or like one of the biggest inspiration is has been in your life?
Or just anything.
Yeah, for like leadership or like any of your interests, anything, yeah.
Um, my biggest inspiration, I think, easily my brother. So he is currently, I think, he's a sophomore in college right now, so he's 3 years older than me. And I really just, I took after him. I've seen like he was a incredible, like passionate person about like standing up to adversity and overcoming challenges that he's faced. And seeing him do that really pushed me to like want to be like him and strive to be like my brother. So definitely he was the biggest inspiration in that sense. And then I think a different aspect is I'm really into fashion and like just wearing like funky styles. There's a guy named Wisdom K online who like does fashion inspiration. He like dresses up. I think for that like personal side of me, I think he would definitely be the biggest inspiration for like my fashion sense.
Yeah. I think was that your brother that you had on like your candidate Instagram? Did you have your brother on there at one point or no? Or did you bring him up? I
Oh, at the New Year's, that was my brother.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. What do you think made your campaign successful enough to make it to this level of the race?
To this level, I think it was really just like the people I try to surround myself with. I try to talk to as many different people from different delegations as possible, as well as other candidates. And I think the biggest thing is talking to other candidates because they'll be able to talk about them as well as other people that they see are influential or that think are like great candidates.
Who have you talked to so far, like in terms of like candidates? Like, who have you had any like conversations with any of them? Or?
Candidates, Jordan, I think he was running. Uh, I don't remember, but Jordan Cake, I talked to him a lot. He's a really cool guy, and I think just talking about his platform really like pushed my platform and learning what different people do. And then Molly Snow, I think is her last name. I don't know how to pronounce it. I'm sorry if I'm butchering it, but she also, me and her kind of talked about what her platform and just getting your name out there was the biggest thing. Even if you have like not that many people to talk to, at Bob, there's so many people that want to meet you. So just I think the biggest thing if you want to run, just talk to as many people as you possibly can because everyone's gonna be so accepting your ideas and they want to learn. So I think just the fear of not talking to them is just something that shouldn't be part of it because everyone wants to know who you are and everyone wants to know like what your platform is. So I think that's what worked for me, just talking to as many people as possible. And I think if someone's gonna run, like that's the one thing that like you have to do because so many people are interested in like what you're doing.
Mhm.
Hmm.
And how has your delegation supported you throughout the campaign?
My delegation, so like I was saying before, like my friend Hagen who ran last year, my delegation gets really into like having a candidate run. So I've had a couple some of my closest friends in my delegation help me with my Insta. I'm not that good at like Insta posts or like those types of things. So
Yeah.
I have a core group of like 10, maybe 15 people who really help me like with the media aspect of it, as well as talking to other people about my name and other people that they see. So I think having that core group of like, even if it's like 5 people, it's just so important to help you like with your platform and with different aspects of like running and being campaigning.
Yeah. Okay, and then do you have any tips for like future candidates? Like
Tips?
the 79th
I
candidate.
think just do it. If you have any idea, if you want to run, I think you just got to go for it and really put your whole heart into it and like put as much effort as you possibly can into running because so much good comes out of running even if like it doesn't go out the way you're thinking. So much positive happens from just talking to people and talking. So just going for it and then talking to as many people, like I was saying before, like just going to talk to people because they want to know who you are is just the biggest tip that I have for people because like I know for me, like I was personally scared of talking to people at first. And after I started talking to like a couple people, I was like, people are interested, they want to know.
Hmm.
So I just felt more comfortable. So I think if you want to run, just go for it and go talk to people and it'll be a great time.
Yeah. I think that's actually a really good tip because I think what discourages so many people from actually running is that the roadblock is actually
Yeah.
like filling out the application because they don't feel confident. But you're right, even if
Yeah.
you have an idea, you should just go out there, even for the experience. Because I was talking to it was a youth governor candidate from last year, and he was telling me that like even though he didn't win. I think it was like the one of the best experiences of his life because he got to learn from his other candidates and he also got to learn more about himself and like push himself, which is really good.
Yeah, I think just running, like, even if like it doesn't go the way you are, there's so much benefit from running that thing. If you even like have this slides thing, like it would be cool. I think you should just do it, and you'll get so much positive out of it.
hmm
Mhm.
And then since you're a NorCal delegate, do you think like anything should be like well, can you share a little bit about like the experience of a Northern California delegate for like us like SoCal delegates and like what do you think should be implemented or changed to like better that experience?
To better like in proportion to like the YG experience.
Or like I heard that there's like a little bit of
How
like
would you like bridge
disconnection.
the gap? Would you do anything to like bridge the gap between NorCal and SoCal?
Oh, that's a great question. I think the biggest thing is just because we're so far apart, it's hard for us to like meet up in person. So I think online things could really work in that sense, if this kind of makes sense. Like instead of meeting up in person, we could have like a game night or some sort of like thing online just to talk to them. Because I have like coming from like North Carolina, like those South Carolina people, like there's a lack of connection I have just because I live somewhere completely different. So online is the biggest thing that we can do. And then at conferences, I think it's really just up to like doing things together, like being accepting and like wanting to meet other people allows you to bridge that gap. Because I have friends from like LA and those areas that I met through like last year at Bob, and I still talk to them just because like I went up and to ask them like, "Hey, what's your name?" And that connection's built. So I think just going up to people no matter where they're from, and then just continuing that conversation online is the biggest thing we could do to bridge this like gap because of the distance.
Yeah. And
I
do you think
agree.
that, yeah.
I've met some of the nicest people from like Capco, and I'm like,
Mhm.
wow, you guys have literally know anything, but you guys are awesome. Like,
Yeah.
And do you think that like in Northern California they have like good connection between the delegations? Because like here in like the LA metro area, since it's like its own like almost alliance, that we
Yeah.
have like our own like
we
sometimes we
have
have
kind of a network
event
of
like
like SoCal.
yeah, we have like YNG like prom. I
Yeah,
think
YNG.
about
What?
that. Yeah, there was also like we have an officer retreat in San Diego too. So I'm wondering if you guys like have any like connection up there.
We have like similar things. So we had an officer retreat like you guys between like
Mhm.
the East Play and that area. We have
Mhm.
some cluster meetups. One of ours is Oktoberfest, which is just like we invite all the delegations around us, like Berkeley and Oakland. They could come by. We carve pumpkins and stuff. So
Oh,
that's
that's
kind of like
cool.
a way that we have. But I think YG prom is such like a cool idea.
Yeah, you guys should do something like
We
that in
should do
Northern
one in
California.
Fresno. We should do one in Fresno, like a central location.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I have the next question. And then during your speech at Bob, you talked a little bit about how you wanted to be like the bridge between like delegates and legislation, and you introduced like a new like a program area to like build this bridge,
Yeah.
right? Can you tell us like a little bit about like that new program area and how it'll like contribute to the program?
Okay, so specifically the program area, the whole job of it is to take bills and proposals that weren't passed last year and then edit and revise them to give them new life. Because I've seen like in specifically Board of Education, I've seen proposals and ideas that were so like good and so impactful that just unfortunately didn't get passed.
hmm
And I know people who are so passionate about that idea that I think having another way for that bill to be passed to legislation or give it like a new life in a sense allows us to continue that passion from last year and then push it as far as possible. And the benefit of this, and which is why I think it'd be so important for us to have, is because they'll have 2 years of experience as well as multiple different people looking at it. And with 2 years of experience and 2 years worth of people working on this bill, I think we just have such a better chance of being passed and having that actually pass the legislation. And I think that was kind of like my idea because I really want to see our ideas be passed on. And because there's only so many that get passed, this is a way for us to have even more get passed that are even better from last year and that are improved on. And that's have a better chance of being passed in legislation.
Yeah, and would these like bills would they go straight to like the governor's desk after like they've been like passed on in like that program area, or like what would the procedure be?
So the procedure in this sense it would be kind of dependent on which area it was in. So that's I would try to push as many as I can to the governor's like desk to look at those bills and proposals. But sometimes there's conferences like with the Board of Education within California, and if there's Board of Education bills, I would try to have those specifically sent there
Mm,
because then it will have a better chance of being passed because it's a group of experts and like people that work in that field looking at that proposal, which I think with those 2 years of experience I was talking about would have a better chance of being passed.
yeah.
Would you like want to do more hands-on work as like the youth governor? Like if you were to go into those certain program areas and like in sessions and like see what's happening, or like would you do like the classic like your staff is going around and you're doing other things?
I think for me, I would really want to be as hands-on as possible. I would really want to see like what the delegates are doing, and then if they have any like problems within them, then take that like to heart and then edit and or, like implement the problems and then fix them. Because I don't know, it's just so cool seeing everyone do so many different things and seeing them write different ideas and have different proposals and do things different things in their program area that I would really want to like see firsthand what they're doing. And then if they can recognize any problems, then I'll be able to specifically fix that problem within that program area. So I think for me personally, I would be as hands-on as I possibly could.
Yeah, and they would also be excited to see you too, because you know you're the elected youth governor if you had that position there.
Yeah.
And then also pertaining to your speech at Bob, I think like what made you stand out on that stage among like the other candidates, other than your policy, was like your presence and public speaking skills. Can you tell us a little bit like how you got to develop and put those skills into practice for like delegates who want to like work on their public speaking skills?
Yeah. So for me, my freshman year, I was kind of more timid with my speaking and I was nervous about going up and talking to people. And I think what really pushed me was saying we had a president last year named Molly who did speech and debate, and I really like took to her and I saw like the power she had with her voice, and that's really pushed me to try to be impactful with my voice because I've seen the effects it has, which is where my platform kind of came from. Because I want to hear all your guys' voices be heard, and that program does that, and I think that's what really pushed me to like go up there and have like as big as a presence as I possibly can. And for someone who is like struggling with public speaking or something related, I think the biggest thing is to just try it with a small group of people. Because I think what helped me specifically is we did tiny family groups and I talked to 6 or 7 people, and that got me confident having those people support me. And then that gave me the chance to go up in front of everyone and talk. So I think if you're struggling with public speaking, it's just having a group of people that you are allowed to like talk freely with and just be as passionate as possible. Because if you are passionate about something you're talking about, you're automatically gonna have a bigger presence because you're so emotional with that. So I think if that's like something you're with, like that's the best advice I would have for you.
Mhm. Yeah, that's really, really good. I think a lot of delegates in our delegation would better from like that information too. And then also, I was wondering, for some delegations who like sometimes like haven't like developed their like the delegation isn't like fully developed, so maybe they're new.
Yeah.
Do you have like any idea on like how to like help them like get through like their first year? Like if you have like any ideas for like what activities they can implement, or like if there's like any information that you could give like the officers at that delegation.
I think like I would give like a couple advice for them growing the program. I think going to like the schools or like the area around them and just talking about youth and government is the best thing that helped our delegation grow and have like members join. So just going there talking about the benefits of YG and specifically experiences that you've had is the best thing you could do to get people to like recruit to come to YG because they've seen firsthand what happened to you, which could be like I could that could be implemented for me, or like if I can overcome public speaking, maybe that person could do the same thing. And I think at conferences, talking to other delegations and ask them was like, hey, can we do a little event at Bob, or can we do like something together at SAC, would really get you to have that connection with the YG, because YG isn't just delegations versus delegations. It's an entire family and a community of people. And if you have that sense of community and like that sense of family within your delegation, it can really be pushed over to you having a sense of family with different delegations. So I think that just setting up like ways for you to talk to other people is the best for yourself to grow your delegation as well as grow as in you feel more connected with all of YNG.
Yeah, I love that. It's not delegation versus delegation. We're all a family here.
Yeah.
It's a really good quote.
Except for the chanting wars at Bob, that's definitely a bloodbath.
Those are spirit
But
spirit wars. Yeah.
those are very special. Okay, so we know that you're involved in like water polo and swimming. Can you tell us like what interested you in pursuing these activities and like what do you think you get out of them?
Okay, so my swim experience started a little differently. I have a pretty like severe asthma, and my entire family has asthma. And what happened, my father was to play like some sort of sport that was really like with your lungs. So water polo and swimming was able for me to like work on my breathing. And after like I got into swimming, it's just like my passion for swimming just like grew exponentially because of its benefits it had, one on my health, but also just the social aspect of it. And then
I used to swim, yeah.
yeah, and then one of my friends did water polo, and he said that it was able to help him meet more people, and it was a community that was, because although like swimming is a team, it's a little bit more individual. And water polo gave him the aspect of a team and a family, and that's what pushed me to like do water polo. And I think what I've got out of having a team is really the benefit or the like the aspects that come out of having a group of people that support you. I'm not the greatest at water polo, but I have friends that really like try to push me to be better and that push me to like go past my limit and to go like try to improve on water polo and swimming. And that's what's really taught me about just life in general, is having a group of people that is able to push you really could give you like the best things in life. It can make you like able to overcome some problems that you face like as of right now. And with that like little emphasis or push, you could get over that like hill that you're facing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would say that some of my friends who are like the best athletes I know have like the most horrendous asthma, and I'm like, I don't know how you do it, but like, good for you, man. Like,
Thank you.
that's amazing. Okay, so and a good way that you've been engaging with the YNG community away from conferences is like your reaction videos on your Instagram. So what inspired that? Like what brought that on?
Um, Realistically, I was kind of just bored one day, and I was like, it would be kind of cool if we just like post some random thing on my Insta. Like, doesn't have to be YG related. I think the biggest thing was just to show that like I'm not a candidate. I'm just like a delegate like everyone else. So just showing like an aspect that you don't see at Bob or an aspect that you don't see at SAC. And then after I posted like I think I posted a food review first at Bob, and after that, it was just like, who cares? Like, I'll just post whatever I want. Like, it'd be fun just to show like experiences I'm doing or random things I'm doing. And I think it's able for me to connect with other people and for them to see like who I am,
Yeah.
because kind of at SAC, I'm kind of limited to show like who I am. I can only like say what I am, not show what I am. And those videos are
One
able
of
to
this
show
podcast.
people like, yeah. And those videos are able to show like who I am as a person. And I think it's just like it's just fun to post stuff. Like even like no matter like even if it's like not even related at all, it's just fun to post.
Mhm.
Yeah. It's like that guy at the Olympics with the cookies. That's
Yeah,
what is the Olympic cookie review.
yeah.
And then we know that a huge part of your identity, you brought it up earlier, and like your interests is like fashion and sewing, right?
Yeah,
Can you
yeah.
tell us a little bit about like why these things are important to you and like what do you think they say about like who you are?
Yeah, this is
Okay,
a
so my passion for sewing really came from my dadi, which is like my grandma. She used to sew a lot, and she had this really old like vintage sewing machine. And I saw it, and I was like, that is the coolest thing I've ever seen. I need to learn that. And that's where my passion for like sewing came from. And before sewing, my like I was talking about my brother is into fashion as well. And he's what kind of like started me on this like route of like clothing and expressing really like who I am. Because I've learned is fashion is a way for me to show like who I am as a person. It's a way for me to express like what I like. And sewing was able for me to make things that I like and things that I really think are cool and show people and showcase to people like this is what I do. And I think sewing has taught me the biggest thing is to be confident with what I do because to be honest, the stuff I make isn't like that great looking. Well, I think it's cool, but some people be saying like the stitching job isn't great. It's like I recognize your opinion, but like I like it. And I like the way I look and I like the way I dressed and I'm gonna wear what makes me happy. And that's really pushed to like me being expressive of who I am. And sewing was probably the biggest thing that taught me that of be confident with who you are, and you can't let other people like dictate like things you do, things you like where you dress, things you wear. It's really up to like if you like it, just wear it, dude. Like just go rock it.
Mhm. I
I
like it. I like it.
Actually, I also sew too, so and I also embroider. So I was also wondering, like, do you use like a sewing machine and like what type?
Yeah, I can show you right now. It's actually on my desk.
Yeah,
Give us a sewing machine tour.
it's all right. I'm not that great at it.
Oh, there we go. Sorry, I'm doing Spanish right now. But this is my sewing machine.
Oh, brother,
Um,
yeah.
yeah. And then this is the one I use for everything. And then my old sewing machine was this like I think it's called like Sears or something. It wasn't a table. And you lift it up and it comes out the table. And that was the
Oh, I
first
know
one I
what you're
used.
talking about. Mhm.
Yeah, that's the first one I used. And that really showed me like how to sew properly. And then this one just made me like expand on that like passion. What type
Yeah.
of what do you have? Like do you have it like able or just like know what it is?
Uh, I'm not sure. I think it might be in my garage right now, but it's a Singer.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah,
what I started out with too.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And
And
we
then,
just spread it out the house.
as we're wrapping up the podcast here, are there any like other activities you're involved in that you want to shout out on the podcast?
Other activities? Oh, so I'm really passionate about like plants and like moss. Moss is so cool. It's kind of like a weird thing I do, but
It
I'm
is.
the I'm the president of our school's Garden Goobers Club. It's kind of a weird, it's a weird title, but we're building a garden at my school, and that's probably like one of the coolest things I've been doing with all my friends
Mhm.
is I have a planter box made and I'm just getting permission for water, but we're making this garden that is going to be at my school, and I think it's a great way for me to like have an impact on where I am because I know people who are going to take care of it when I graduate, and I think outside of like sewing and water polo, like that's like plants and gardening and nature is probably like one of my biggest passions in life.
Yeah, I love that. I love gardening too because my mom also loves gardening. Sophia, we need to do like the same thing with our local YMCA at Anderson Munger. We need to get like a couple of plant boxes on the
Oh,
roof.
I'm all over it. Dude, my moms, they love plants. Moms are plant moms. Like I'm on it.
Yeah, it's really a great project to just get everyone involved. If you do it, barrels also work really well. So if you want to like garden, I'd recommend using barrels and then figure out a way to like automate the water. But
Mhm.
I think you guys should totally do it. It's so fun to garden.
You can enjoy that, yeah, for sure. We could put Everett on that or something.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is campaign season. So you've probably been able to spread your message and the policies that you want to implement like around like you've been campaigning.
Yeah.
We just want to know if there's anything from your campaign that you feel like you haven't gotten to highlight enough, or if there's anything that you feel like you haven't been able to talk about enough.
Okay, so this is kind of in combination with my the program I was thinking. This is a new idea I want to add to that previous idea of the program area. It's another way to have our voices heard, but specifically your voices heard in your community. So although we do statewide in this case, I think the coolest thing, like our delegation has been doing it, is having an effect on our community. So my idea is that Bob, you come with problems that you see, or like one of our problems is transportation's a problem. Like the roads are like unsafe in some areas. So you come to Bob with this idea that like I would like to do something about infrastructure, or I like to do something with roads. And you could write a proposal or an idea that instead of going straight directly to the state, it goes to your city, which I think is the coolest thing because it really shows that you have an impact on where you are or where you live. And having that effect, I think, is important for people because it pushes people to like be passionate because it has an actual effect on where you specifically live. And I think with this program area, it'll allow people from different areas with similar problems to write proposals, and that can either be sent to the governor if they see it's a statewide problem, but also can be redirected to their city council and have that fixed there. Because I think having a connection with both statewide and city would really like bridge this gap between us, between not just statewide legislation, but also like locally and different aspects. And really allow us to have every single one of our voices heard, which is really what my platform is just to get your voices heard out there as like the youth and government program.
Yeah, I really like that idea because youth in government, obviously, we're simulating like state government, and there's not a lot of emphasis on city government and local
Yeah.
government. Yeah, I really like that. Thank you so much, Sajan, for coming on to the podcast today. Everybody, check him out on Instagram. And then, yes, you'll see him at
Watch
Sacramento.
the reviews.
Yeah,
Yeah,
watch.
thank you so much. Bye guys.
Bye.
Bye.